Photo of the Month, a street photography series by Bryan. The story behind the photo.
Yo, serious question. Do you ever ask yourself, what the am I doing with my life? Well, that's exactly what I asked myself before taking this photo. Alright, welcome back to another episode of Photo of the Month, where I feature some of my favorite photos and the stories behind them. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about something I think a lot of street photographers probably ask themselves at one point or another, which is, what the am I doing with my life? So let's get into it. Okay, so I don't know what compelled me to go out on the street and shoot in freezing cold weather in probably the worst snowstorm of the year in the middle of winter. But I'm glad I did, and I'm going to tell you why. But first, let's jump into this quick edit so I can show you how I went from this version to this version. Normally I don't edit my photos this much, but in order to bring this story to life, I had to make a few adjustments. First, I made sure the subject was in the center of the frame. Secondly, the leading lines subconsciously draw the viewer's attention towards the woman. Third, I shot this at f2.8, which means she's in focus and the background is out of focus. Fourth, my shutter speed was set to 1/1000th of a second, which is fast enough to capture the snow falling. Lastly, when I convert the photo to black and white, I bring up the shadows and I enhance the contrast. I'm left with a powerful image that tells an amazing story. And here's something else to think about. Most street portraits are powerful because we get to see someone's face. But in this case, my street portrait tells a story through the winter environment, the subject's body language, and the implied weight of all those bags she's carrying. Okay, so now that you've seen the final image, let me get back to the first part of my story. As I mentioned earlier, I was wandering the streets with my camera during one of the worst snowstorms of the year. You know that defeated feeling? Like when you're literally second guessing everything and what used to make sense doesn't? Well, that's exactly what I was feeling while I was out on the street. But then something very special happened. When I got home, I made that quick edit and I decided to post it on Instagram. And honestly, within a few minutes, I got a very personal DM from someone asking about that photo. As an artist, I feel like anytime someone connects with your work on a deeper level, you've done your job. And I think that DM was the reminder I needed. This is why I go out and shoot on the street every day. Because there's a story to be told. And you never know how your work is going to impact someone else in the world. That reminded me of this very important quote from photographer Jay Maisel. If you are out there shooting, things will happen for you. If you're not out there, you'll only hear about it. In all honesty, I felt defeated that day, but this photo gave me hope. And as cliche as it sounds, I needed to just trust the process and everything would be okay. I still think it's important to ask yourself these hard questions sometimes, but maybe let this be a lesson to all the street photographers out there. Don't give up, trust the process, and keep shooting and sharing your work. Okay, so that's a wrap for another edition of Photo of the Month, but I'll see you next month for a very important episode entitled, You Are Your Only Competition. Peace.